Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. With I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. With the slump yesterday, as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point, other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad, back with you. Better off dead, which I am. Tuesday, September 9th. Is that what this is? 0-2 on the show yesterday. Our 2 road favorites, both lost. Really, really great, obviously. The Mets, I mean, it was a close game. They lost 1-0. I was just really, really surprised that Aaron Nola was able to pitch as well as he did. We got basically what we expected out of Nolan McLean on the Mets side, but way better pitching from Philadelphia than expected. And then the other game, Milwaukee, Texas, I think that was a little bit misleading, man. But yeah, I'm surprised the Texas bullpen completely shut Milwaukee out. But I'm pretty sure, I was going to say Milwaukee actually out-hit Texas in the game. They didn't. They actually had the same amount of hits, 6-6, but the game was not as lopsided as the final score looked, man. Quintana outlasted Latz in the game. Outlatzed him, maybe. I don't know. But the game was 0-0 into the 5th inning, and Quintana just had one bad inning, basically, and then that was it. And, yeah, again, both teams only had 6 hits. You're talking about the Rangers, who can't hit, getting 5 runs off of 6 hits. That's kind of bullshit, man. It makes me more angry because I had, I gave out the over as a lean in the Anaheim, Minnesota game. I believe the Washington, Miami game might have been another one of those. Those are both easy overs. And then I was correct about the Monday Night Football game as well, which looked like it wasn't going to be the case. But, Caleb Williams, he's not good. J.J. McCarthy, man, I mean, he didn't have a great game, but he won in his debut. He's the first quarterback in their NFL debut to overcome a double-digit deficit in the 4th quarter since Steve Young in the mid-'80s. So, good company there. I saw some others. What was the other stat that I saw? I forget what it was. Something about a quarterback throwing multiple touchdowns in their debut. Like, that hadn't happened for a while either. I don't remember exactly what the stat was on that, so I'd have to look that up again. But again, he didn't have a great game, but it was good enough, and he kept his composure after he threw a pick 6. And it looked like his team was done, but I told you he had the talent around him. Minnesota's defense played a good game. So they were able to get the job done. I like being right. So there we go. Caleb Williams, he's not the guy, man, as I keep saying. He's not good. I mean, the Bears scored less than it looks like they did on the scoreboard because one of those scores was a pick 6. So, yeah. Let's move on to today, man. I'm going to have 4 baseball plays today. We have a full baseball card. I like some of the angles today. Talking about WNBA first, though. WNBA, we're coming down to the end of the season here, man. So, there are some situations where motivation is a big factor here. I'm still not going to give out any WNBA plays, though, I guess, until the playoffs at this point. I know much to people's chagrin, I guess, because my WNBA plays have won this season, but I don't see a great enough angle, man. I mean, I'll talk about these games here. Washington at New York. New York is the only one of these teams with anything to play for here, really, because Washington is out of it. So if we're talking about playoff positioning, the Liberty are fighting for, I believe they're fighting for the 2 seed in the playoffs or the 3 seed now, whatever it is. So they have something to play for at least. But they are returning home from a road trip where they went to the West Coast. So it's not the easiest spot for the Liberty, as I say, when you return home from a road trip. It's not really the greatest spot. You can tend to be a little bit distracted, and maybe the Liberty will be because they did also beat Washington in their last game on this floor before they went on the road trip. They beat them easily by 26 points. So the Liberty might actually not take them completely seriously. Liberty are up to a 14.5-point favorite from an 11-point favorite. 80% of tickets on them, but 70% of the cash coming in on Washington. So I don't know if the line moved just because there's some injuries on the Washington side. I mean, it looks like Sheldon is out, I guess. I don't know if that would move the line 3 points, though. But I lean to taking the points with Washington. I mean, the Liberty, yeah, they want to win, but it's a difficult spot for them. They might not show up totally focused in this one. Of course, they're still going to make the playoffs. Minnesota at Indiana. Minnesota dropped from 6-point favorite to a 2.5-point favorite. 67% of tickets are on Indiana. 82% of the cash coming on Minnesota, though. Indiana has clinched a playoff spot. I believe they could potentially fall back into the number 8 spot, though. I think they're in the 7 right now. And if they fall into the 8, they would have to play Minnesota in the first round of the playoffs, which they probably don't want to do, even though I know Indiana beat them in the Commissioner Cup final. Indiana, I mean, without Cunningham now, without Clark, they're not coming back for the season. Indiana got a bunch of injuries, man, which I don't really I do understand a bit why Minnesota dropped on the line, though, because Collier, who is potentially going to be the league MVP, she's not going to play in this game for Minnesota. She's injured, but I think in a way they might just be trying to rest her for the playoffs as well, because Minnesota, they already clinched the 1 seed, so they really don't have anything to play for here. So I wouldn't really want to lay the points here. Indiana at least has some playoff positioning to try to play for, and I believe they want to make sure they get the 7 seed so they don't have to play Minnesota, I would guess, in the first round. But we'll see how that pans out. I would slightly lean to taking the points with Indiana in that one, even though the line really, really dropped, which I think is why you see the cash coming in on Minnesota now, thinking that maybe there's value there because that line dropped maybe too much. But again, I wouldn't want to have my money on Minnesota as a road underdog when they literally have nothing to play for. So, and they already got their revenge on Indiana for the Commissioner Cup loss because Minnesota's already beaten Indiana at least twice since then, beating them twice recently. So do with that info what you will. At least I think that's correct. Let me see. Yeah, Indiana right here. They lost both of a home and home against Minnesota not that long ago. Chicago at Vegas. Vegas is battling for a playoff spot. Vegas has not lost for, I don't know, 2 months now. I mean, what is this? Over a month at least. Vegas has won. I can't even count how many games in a row that is that they've won. They've won a ton of games in a row. They've, I believe, put themselves in a tie for the 2nd seed, or maybe they're ahead now, but they're trying to get the best seed that they can in the playoffs. But they're playing Chicago again after just playing them, and they did beat them by 14 points on this floor, though they actually didn't cover. They were a 16.5-point favorite. It was an easy win, though. Chicago shot really poorly from the field, 40.3% from the field, lost the turnover battle badly. Chicago actually out-rebounded Vegas in the game. I think it might have been a situation where maybe Vegas rested some of their players late in the game. Like I said, that is something that Becky Hammond tends to do there, especially when you have the playoffs up ahead. You don't want to overwork your best players. So in a game that really doesn't matter and you already have it in hand, you're probably going to rest your starters. That might happen again here. So I'd probably lean to Chicago getting the points again. And this time Vegas is up to an 18-point favorite, even though they didn't cover in the previous game. So I would lean to Chicago covering that again. But I mean, it is a mismatch between those two teams, though. It's just a matter of, I think Vegas might just try to get in and get out with an easy win and not really care about blowing them out. LA at Phoenix. These last 2 games are the most important games, really, because LA and Seattle are both in the battle for the final playoff spot. LA is having to go to Phoenix, which is not easy. Phoenix is still fighting to try to get the best seeding that they can as well. They just lost a win streak, though. They'd won 6 games in a row, and then they just lost. And I say sometimes when you lose a win streak like that, it can hang you over into the next game, although they lost to a really bad Connecticut team, so maybe they will be angry about that loss. But then again, they're also returning home from a road trip. I know it was only a 2-game road trip, but they're returning home from the East Coast. So it could be a bit of a distraction. You get back home, you have stuff to do back at home. They did already beat LA on the road not that long ago. So really, the only thing that worries me about going with LA here is that Phoenix might be embarrassed that they lost to Connecticut. And they're playing for seeding. But other than that, this looks like some decent angles for LA here. And you have Phoenix in the return home spot. LA has more to play for because they're trying to make the playoffs at all. And when a team that's in desperation mode is getting a ton of points, that's kind of what you want because you're going to get their full effort. Even if the pressure is on them, they don't need to win to get you the cover. So that might be a good situation there. And then, of course, it is revenge. Like I said, it's road revenge. Phoenix is up from 6 to 7.5 with juice, which I don't understand that move. I would lean to LA or not play the game. Don't really. Well, it looks like Kelsey Plum, I guess, is the biggest injury concern there. So I guess that is important. You got to pay attention to that. I guess she's one of the better players on LA. She's a game time decision right now. I'm assuming if she's able to play, she's going to be out there, though. But maybe that has to do with why the line has moved like that. There is some uncertainty there. But again, I think it's either you take the points with LA or you don't play that game. And then Golden State at Seattle. Seattle fighting for that last playoff spot as well. They're in the last playoff spot right now. Only one game above 500. They're 1.5 games above LA, but they want to win to make sure they're going to make this last playoff spot here. But they did play a close game last time out against the Liberty, and they lost only by 8. So I don't know if it's the greatest spot for Seattle here, even though you're going to get their focus. Will they be able to cover a favorite spread? I don't know, man. They did lose to LA, which didn't help their cause the game before, the Liberty game as well. So that wasn't great for Seattle. They've lost 2 straight home games, which in a way should refocus them, even though they are coming off that big game against the Liberty. When you're fighting for to get into the playoffs at all, you're not going to lose focus. Golden State, they're coming off a big game themselves. They did just lose. They just lost a win streak. They'd won 5 games in a row, and they lost to Minnesota, so that might hang them over. That was a close loss to the best team in the league. Now they are going out on the road. Golden State, they still have seeding to play for here, although they're in the playoffs. It's just a matter of which seed they're going to get. They're going to be one of the lower 4 seeds, I believe. But I would lean somewhat to Seattle here. They're up from 6 to 7. 50% of tickets, 80% of the cash on Golden State, though. But slight lean to Seattle for me. I think the best play in the WNBA is grabbing LA plus the points, though. That is close to being a play for me. It's just those 2 factors worry me just a little bit, man. Other than that, I would probably recommend it. But, I mean, Plum, you got to make sure that she's going to be in there, though. Even if it knocks a little bit off the line, you want to try to get +7 on LA, though, if you do like LA. 7 being the key number in basketball because it's what breaks the 3-3 tie. Let's go to Major League Baseball. I got a full baseball slate here. Hopefully we can get this done quick, man. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Neither team played yesterday. Neither team really has anything left to play for. Baltimore had won 5 games in a row and then finally lost. They were on the verge of sweeping both. They had swept San Diego, and then they were on the verge of also sweeping the Dodgers. Weren't able to do that. They are staying at home, but again, when you take a loss like that, it can kind of hang you over. And I don't know if Baltimore is really going to be totally focused on Pittsburgh here. Pittsburgh coming in after getting swept at home after they swept the Dodgers. Dodgers not playing very well right now. Pittsburgh got swept after that by Milwaukee, so it might be a good thing for Pittsburgh to just get out of there, go on the road. Maybe Pittsburgh will be focused for the first game of a road trip. Both bullpens are rested because the teams didn't play yesterday. Pittsburgh has the slightly better of the 2 bullpens, although neither bullpen is that good. Both offenses aren't very good either, though. The starting pitching matchup is interesting. I think there's a lot of unfamiliarity with the starting pitching matchup here. Mike Burrows is going to return to the starting rotation for the Pirates. He's a rookie, I believe. He's had a decent season, 4.08 ERA, 1.26 whip, a little bit high. A little bit worse on the road, 4.15 road ERA. He was good over his last 3 outings, which I think were all out of the bullpen, if I'm not mistaken. He gave up only 1 earned run over that span in 9 innings, so that's decent, although he is now returning to the rotation. Like I said, he also had 9 strikeouts and 2 walks over that span. Last time out, he shut out the Dodgers for 3 innings. So he is in decent form right now. It's kind of a matter of, is he going to be good again when he returns to the starting rotation? Because it looks like they sent him to the bullpen because he wasn't pitching that well as a starter anymore. But sometimes that will like get a starter to refocus, and then he rejoins the starting rotation and he is pumped up for it and pitches well the next time out. And Baltimore has never faced Burrows before, so he does have a little bit of an unfamiliarity advantage there. As I always say, when a pitcher is unfamiliar to the opposing hitters, that could be a bit of an advantage to the pitcher. The first couple of times the hitters have to face him, they have to figure him out. Kyle Bradish is pitching for the Orioles. He just returned from injury not that long ago, and he's been good since then. A 3.6 ERA and a 1 whip, a 3 ERA at home, so he's been better at home. He's only made 2 starts, so he returned really recently. Didn't last that long in his last start, only lasted 4 innings, but he's allowed only 2 earned runs in each start so far. He did really well in his first start against the Red Sox, where he lasted 6 innings, struck out 10. Overall, he has a 15-2 strikeout walk ratio and fewer hits per innings pitched, so he is pitching well. He's been in pretty good command. He's going up against a really weak Pittsburgh lineup here. Pittsburgh only has 4 hitters who've ever faced him before, and they're 3 for 20 off him with no extra base hits, 9 strikeouts and 1 walk. So 150 average and 340 OPS. So it seems to me like both pitchers line up fairly nicely in this one. I would lean to an under in this game and maybe a slight lean to Baltimore, but Baltimore is not getting the market indicators right now. Is Baltimore up from minus 145 to minus 147, but 60% of tickets, only 53% of the cash on them. So the money looks like it's coming in against Baltimore, which does indicate that the pros might think there is some value with Burrows there as an underdog. But again, I think the under is the better way to look. The money is definitely moving towards the under. This would be close to being a play for me. I'm leaving it off my card, but this is one of the ones just off my card. The total has dropped down from 8.5 to 8. 8.5 juice to the over to 8 juice to the under. 50% of tickets on the under, 96% of the cash on the under. So some strong indicators there on the under in that game. And again, I do agree with that. So that would be the way I would lean. I worry a little bit about Burrows, but he does have the unfamiliarity edge there. So that's close to being a play for me. Kansas City at Cleveland. This series started yesterday, and Cleveland won. They've won 4 games in a row, even though they're probably resigned to the fact that they're out of it, but they just overtook Kansas City in the standings. So Kansas City might be feeling like they pretty much kind of know they're almost out of it now as well, which is interesting because Cleveland sold off at the trade deadline and lost their closer to gambling, and Kansas City bought at the trade deadline and got a couple of pitchers, and Kansas City's the team that's now behind Cleveland again. It's just insane, man. But it was an embarrassing loss for Kansas City yesterday, losing 10-2 to a Cleveland team that can't really hit. That's not good, so Kansas City might be pissed about that, and maybe they will show up in this particular game. Both teams have pretty solid bullpens. Cleveland actually has the better bullpen despite losing their closer, and they only used 1 relief pitcher yesterday, so Cleveland's bullpen's in good shape. Kansas City used 3. They've used more of their bullpen over the last couple of days. Cleveland gets the bullpen edge. Kansas City, believe it or not, actually is the better offense of the 2 teams, which is not what it appeared yesterday, but results can be misleading. Kansas City does have their talented rookie, Noah Cameron, on the mound here. He's having a good season for his rookie campaign here. 3.03 ERA, 1.13 whip. He's been a little bit better on the road, too. 2.94 ERA, even though Kansas City has a pitcher-friendly ballpark. One thing you got to worry about with Cameron, though, is he's a rookie. He's not used to throwing this many innings in a season before, so it looks to me like he might be wearing down a little bit, which I should have taken into account with his last game, because I think I was on Kansas City in that last game. We got a win on that. Well, we got a win on the money line portion of it. I think it was a small win because I had a split bet run line, money line. We kind of got away with it. But Cameron, he's only gone 5 innings in each of his last couple of starts. He's allowed 9 earned runs over that 10-inning span against the White Sox, who really cannot hit, and Anaheim, who's a mediocre offense. And maybe more alarming than that is that he struck out nobody against the White Sox and had 5 walks against Anaheim. So Cameron does look like he might be wearing down here, so I would be a little bit wary of him, although his numbers are good against Cleveland, only 14 at bats. So Cleveland, I think, has only seen him once before because he is a rookie. And he did well in that game. Cleveland's only 2 for 14 with no extra base hits off him. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, a 143 average, and a 343 OPS, but I worry about Cameron for two reasons. That means because I think he might be wearing down a little bit, but also now he doesn't have that advantage of being unfamiliar. So now Cleveland has seen him once. So now that they have, that doesn't mean that maybe Cleveland will do better against him the next time out, although it would be more advantageous for Cleveland if they had just seen him. But it wasn't that long ago, though. It was late July. Cameron went 5 shutout innings against them, so which was good. But, he might do worse this time out. It looks like the odds are that he probably will be worse this time out. I'm not saying he's necessarily going to be bad because I don't think he is bad, and Cleveland is still a bad offense. Joey Cantillo is pitching for Cleveland. He's been pretty up and down. I think he's been in the bullpen. He's been in the starting rotation. His ERA is 3.73, which is all right. Or better than all right, but 1.4 whip is not all right. So his whip is worse, indicating that his ERA is a little bit misleading. He's been bad at home, 4.7 ERA at home. That's not good. Last couple outings for him were decent. He's allowed 1 earned run in 3 straight outings each, but besides last outing, where he had 7 strikeouts against the Red Sox in a 6-inning performance, which was a really nice start, and only allowed 2 walks. He had 4 walks in the outing before that against Atlanta, which is not great. Multiple walks in 4 straight outings, every outing since the beginning of August. So some causes for alarm there with Cantillo because he walks too many guys. His numbers are fairly good against Kansas City in 21 at-bats, 7-3 strikeout walk ratio. Isn't that great, but a 238 average, 714 OPS, so he doesn't have bad numbers against them. I mean, there are some arguments for an under here. The total's gone down from 8 to 7.5, but I think you do have to worry a bit about Cameron's recent form. Maybe he's wearing down. The fact that Cleveland has seen him once now, you got to worry about Cantillo walking too many guys. So the total down to 7.5. It is a low total. 75% of tickets, 95% of the cash on the over. There's not a whole lot of leeway with that total there, and there are some concerns with that. Kansas City, 62% of tickets, 74% of the cash, though. So it looks like they might be public with professional money also agreeing with Kansas City. Cameron, I think, generally is the better pitcher over Cantillo, but again, I worry that he might be just wearing down at the end of the season. Cleveland's up from -108 to -113. It's a tricky game to handicap, man, so we will see what happens in that game. Washington and Miami, I'm going to give out a play on this, and hopefully it's the same as yesterday, but this time I'm actually giving it out as a play. We'll go back to that. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. So you already probably know what it is. Mets and Philly, I'm not going to try to give out a play this time. Philly, as I pointed out, won 1-0 yesterday. This is a bigger series for the Mets, though, man. As I pointed out going into that game, the Mets, they're still trying to hang on to a wild card spot here. They're behind Philadelphia in the division. Philadelphia's got a lot of padding in the division, even though, yeah, they're playing for like seeding in the playoffs and whatever. But I think the Mets, their situation is a little bit more desperate here, and you are getting them as an underdog price. So sometimes that is the way you want to look, man, towards the desperate dogs. And after getting shut out yesterday, they might bounce back because the Mets, their offense has been good recently, as I pointed out yesterday as well. So seeing them get shut out by Nola, who had been really struggling, was kind of crazy to see. Although Nola, as I pointed out, he is better than he was pitching. It was just a matter of was he going to be able to get that old form back, coming back from surgery and stuff. Maybe he is. I mean, I guess we'll see. But, yeah, we'll see if he can sustain that. But anyway, I think the Mets do have the slightly better offense here at this point, even though Philly hits a little bit better at home. The Mets offense has been in really good form. They overtook Philadelphia in the standings as far as which team has the better OPS. As you can see here, Mets are actually up at 4th now in OPS on the season. Mets also have the better of the 2 bullpens here. Philly's bullpen, not great. They also had some usage yesterday. They used Duran, who is their closer right now after they picked him up as that was one of their acquisitions at the trade deadline. The Mets, lighter bullpen usage over the last couple of days. It's a pretty light bullpen usage, so the Mets have the bullpen edge here. Do they have the starting pitching edge, though? I'm going to say they don't. Sean Manaea is pitching for the Mets. He's started to struggle a bit. He came back from injury, had a late start to the season, came back not too long ago, and he was pretty hot for his first few starts, but then he started to do worse. He's got a 5.6 ERA. 1.24 whip is about where you expect his whip to be, so his ERA should be lower than this. but he does tend to walk too many guys throughout his career, which wasn't the case in his first few starts this season. He is really bad on the road this year, 6.53 ERA on the road. He's failed to make it 5 innings in 3 straight outings, including one against Philadelphia at home, where he allowed 2 earned runs in 4 2/3, 8 strikeouts, no walks. So it wasn't a terrible outing. 6 hits allowed, though, and he threw 90 pitches. So he's really, really inefficient with his pitches right now, even though he's still not walking that many guys. His walk rate is actually way lower than you usually get from Manaea. Gave up 5 earned runs last time out against Detroit. That's pretty alarming as well, even though he had a good strikeout to walk ratio. So his command numbers are remaining good, but he's actually getting hit too hard, which is usually not his problem, which is kind of wild to see. Philadelphia just saw him, and their numbers are good against Manaea in 95 at-bats. 26-8 strikeout walk ratio is pretty good for him, but 284 batting average, 950 OPS, and they have 8 home runs off him, including 3 from Castellanos, even though he's only 6 for 21 off him, which is still a decent batting average as well. But Manaea doesn't do well against Philadelphia. Roger Suarez is pitching for the Phillies. He's had a good season, man. I mean, I expected some regression out of him just like last year. Hasn't totally come into effect this year. 2.89 ERA for him, 1.18 whip. He's been a little bit worse at home, though, or a bit worse at home. 3.68 ERA at home. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 4 straight starts, going at least 5 innings in all of them, so that's a decent sign. He's pitching pretty well, though his strikeout rate came back down over his last couple of outings, but he only gave up 1 earned run over those last 11 innings. Gave up too many hits, though, against Atlanta and somehow bailed himself out. Had a good start against Milwaukee last time out, a 6-inning shutout allowing 6 hits. Only 4 strikeouts, though, and 2 walks. So he's in pretty decent form right now. His numbers against the Mets are also good. In 144 bats, 31-19 strikeout walk ratio isn't that good. So the walks are kind of a concern there, but a 201 batting average allowed in 656 OPS. So Suarez does have pretty good numbers overall against the Mets. So I would have to lean to Philly in this game, man. But the money is disagreeing with that. Philly down from -135 to -123. We see some reverse line movement on this one. 71% of tickets on Philly, they're public, and the line's moving against them. Only 66% of the cash on them. Again, I would lean to Philly because of that starting pitching matchup. Maybe Philly first 5 innings only so you can avoid the bullpen situation there. But I do think Suarez has the edge over Manaea early in the game. Detroit at the Yankees. Neither of these teams played yesterday. The Yankees coming off a big series, though, against Detroit, where the Yankees moved to within 2 games of Toronto. Yankees coming off a big series against Toronto, a huge AL East series, which may factor into one of my plays here that I'll give out. Not this game, but the next game, Houston-Toronto. So the Yankees are coming off a big series, but they are still fighting to try to win their division. Detroit may have a little bit less to play for because they have a lot of padding in their division, but they did just lose a series to the White Sox, which is pretty embarrassing, and now they're going out on the road, going to the Bronx, so that's something that will draw your focus. So I expect both teams are going to show up here, try to win this game, both with things to play for. The Yankees have the better offense of the two. Both teams can hit pretty well. Yankees more so, though. Detroit has the better bullpen of the two. So then what do we do with the starting pitching matchup? I think the starting pitching favors the Yankees. Casey Mize pitching for Detroit. I just don't buy it. I don't buy his ERA, 3.87 this year. I know he has a pretty good win-loss record this year, too. 13-5. He gets backed by a lot of run support, but his 1.3 whip indicates he's not as good as his ERA looks. He's been one of the guys that I've called out as a guy who should regress at some point here. He's not as good as he looks. And he looks good, man. He's a handsome fella. He isn't as good on the road either. 4.26 ERA on the road. He was good in his last start against the Mets. Gave up 1 earned run in 5 innings, 3 strikeouts, no walks. Didn't do well the previous month, though. He was definitely suffering some regression with a 5.81 ERA in August, even though his team won 4 of his 5 outings. It wasn't a great month for him. 23-6 strikeout walk ratio was all right, but he gave up a lot of home runs. He gave up too many runs, man. Although he's kind of pitching consistently in that he's allowing mostly like 3-4 runs when he gets out there. But he's going to face one of the best lineups in baseball here, so that's going to be difficult. His numbers against the Yankees are not as bad as you would expect. In 43 at-bats, 16-5 strikeout-walk ratio, not horrible. 256 batting average allowed, 752 OPS, so that OPS is only slightly high. So Mize is actually not that bad against the Yankees, but I actually think Will Warren for the Yankees is actually the preferred pitcher here, even though his numbers don't look like it. 4.28 ERA, 1.39 whip. I think he has more upside than Mize. Warren is the younger pitcher, and he's shown the better talent and strikeout stuff. Some of his problems have been walks, man, but he's better at home, so he has the home road split advantage over Mize. 3.3 ERA at home. Oh, and by the way, I never talk about day-night splits, but his are really significant. He has a way lower ERA at night, even though it's in way more innings. 3.44 ERA at night. His daytime ERA is way worse, and every game is a night game today. So Warren is in the better of that split as well. Even though, again, his daytime split is a small sample size. Warren's been okay over his last 2 outings. He's only allowed 2 earned runs over the last 2 outings, over 10 innings. Decent. 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. His strikeout rate has gone down, but he's pitched a bit better. He had a 2.84 ERA over the month of August, so he is settling in, pitching less wild than he was, at least to some degree. His numbers against Detroit, don't worry. Those, if you saw those numbers, those bad numbers I just showed were against Toronto. Against Detroit has actually never seen Warren before, so he has an unfamiliarity edge there too, so Detroit might struggle to try to figure him out. So I think the Yankees are probably the right side here. You're getting a price on the Yankees that isn't as steep as a lot of times it would be, because Warren just doesn't have great numbers. So I think you're actually getting maybe value on the Yankees. Go figure. I don't want to say it as a Red Sox fan. Yankees are up from -148 to -149. 72% of tickets, 85% of the cash coming in on them. I would agree with the Yankees side. Probably would only do it first 5 innings, though, because I think you do still have to worry about their bullpen, although their bullpen is rested. But both bullpens are, so Detroit does have a bullpen advantage still. Money looks like it's coming in on the under as well, down from 9 to 8.5, all the way to 8.5 juice to the under. 71% of tickets on the over, 65% of the cash on the over. So money is coming in on the under. I would worry about that, too, because I don't trust Mize. I don't necessarily trust either starter, really, and I don't trust the Yankees bullpen. So I think Yankees first 5 is the best way to look at that game. Houston, Toronto, I'll give that out as a play at the end of the show. Cubs at Atlanta. Interesting pitching matchup in this one. Atlanta did win yesterday 4-1, even though Atlanta really doesn't have a whole lot left to play for. I mean, they're just playing out the stretch at this point. But when you're hosting a team like the Cubs, you'll show up for that series. Cubs actually have something legitimate to play for as they're trying to make sure they hang on to at least a wild card spot here, as it looks like they're probably not going to catch Milwaukee in their division. The Cubs have the better offense. The Cubs have the better bullpen. The Cubs have the more rested bullpen, as they only use Savali out of the bullpen. I guess I didn't even realize they got Savali. He's been around, man. He's getting tossed around like the town whore or whatever this year. He hasn't settled in on it at any team here, but he's probably happy to be with the Cubs, to be honest, because he gets a chance to play with a contender at least, even if they will be using him out of the bullpen. Anyway, the Cubs bullpen is rested because they only used him yesterday. Atlanta, I mean, their bullpen isn't in terrible shape either. They used 3 relief pitchers lightly yesterday, but still, I'm going to give the Cubs the bullpen edge here. Cubs, you might actually have to give them the starting pitching edge too, man, with Cade Horton, the way he's been playing. He's a young guy, and he's having a really good season. 2.78 ERA, 1.14 whip. I don't think he's reached the point where you really have to worry about his innings pitched total yet. Maybe we're getting there. He is over 100 innings pitched now in his rookie season here. I think he might have a little bit left, though, because he's not really showing signs of slowing down, I don't think, although he is a little bit worse on the road, 4.03 ERA on the road, so kind of significantly worse on the road. So that is a little bit of a worry, although he's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs at every start going all the way back into early July, so he's been really good since then. A 5-inning no-hit bid last time out against Atlanta. They didn't leave him in to go for the no-hitter, though. He'd only thrown 75 pitches, but the Cubs, they're they're trying to weigh their options here. And if Horton's going to be in their playoff rotation, it makes sense why they don't want to overextend him here. So they care more about that than getting him a no-hitter, although I kind of hate all that. Like, I'm old school, man. I'm like, don't be a pussy, man. Like, just go for the no-hitter. There are just way too many guys that get pulled from their no-hitters when they could, make history there. But he was good, but that was against Atlanta, and I think that might have been the first time Atlanta saw him. So, as I keep saying, the pitcher has that big unfamiliarity edge the first time they face that lineup, and if that lineup just saw him, they'll probably do better the next time out. But what does that mean exactly? I mean, how could Horton do any better than what he did last time, except for going longer into the game? Again, he had went 5 innings, didn't allow a hit, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. Horton against Atlanta, they're 0 for 17 off him, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. So, yeah, take from all that what you will. But again, Horton should be a little bit less good this time out, but that still might mean he'll give you a good start here, man. But remember, they are keeping him on a little bit of a pitch count here, too. But the Cubs' bullpen, I mean, I trust them over Atlanta's bullpen, so all that to take into account here. Spencer Strider is pitching for Atlanta. I mean, he's a guy with a bit more experience and is used to throwing innings here, and he's over 100 innings this year as well. But he's used to doing that. I mean, he did it in 2023. He threw a lot of innings, and he had a good year. He's trying to bounce back from injury, man. That's been his thing. He hasn't had a great season, though. He had some signs that he was coming back into form, and that hasn't been the case recently. He's got a 4.97 ERA, 1.39 WHIP, not good. A little bit better at home, 4.81 ERA. Had a couple, his last couple of starts were not horrible in that he went 12 innings, only allowed 4 runs and 8 hits, which isn't too bad, but his strikeout rate was way down, which is really concerning. He had a 4-5 strikeout walk ratio with those 2 outings, more walks than strikeouts. That is very concerning. And his last outing was against the Cubs, so the Cubs just saw him, and he had 3 walks, 1 strikeout in 5 innings, and that one gave up 3 runs, so there's something not right with Strider, man. I mean, he's not striding right now. He has not hit his stride again. He's not striking guys out. I mean, he was a high strikeout rate pitcher. Something is wrong with him right now. Against the Cubs overall, he does have good numbers. Some of it is that last start. 35 at-bats, 6-3 strikeout walk ratio, not great. 200 batting average, 606 OPS. So he does hold the Cubs lineup down. But I really worry about Strider, man. I mean, the money is coming in on the under, and if you're going to get Horton, throwing a decent game still, even though Atlanta saw him once, and if you're going to get Strider somehow returning to form, I could see the argument for the under, but I think it's very dangerous in this game. It could happen, but I wouldn't want to do it. The matchup numbers look pretty good for it, but again, there are things to worry about. 67% of tickets, only 59% of the cash on the over. So money is coming in towards the under, and the money looks like it's backing Atlanta, which is very interesting. Cubs flip from plus 106 to minus 108. 85% of tickets, only 82% of the cash, though. So they're a public road, slight favorite, if you want to call it that. And Atlanta looks like they're taking the money here. Again, professional money seems to come in on Atlanta very, very often this year because they're better than the record looks, which is true, but I think you got to take it on a case-by-case basis, man. This one, it would worry me because I think Horton, he's been in the better form over Strider, so that is something you really have to consider here. I would worry about all that. I mean, I don't even know if I have a particular lean in this game, to be honest. I just think it's really difficult to handicap both the side and the total in that game. Tampa Bay at the White Sox. These teams didn't play yesterday. The White Sox are returning home from a road trip. They only went to Minnesota and Detroit, and they had a really good road trip. They won 6 of the 7 games. They swept Minnesota in a 4-game series and then took 2 out of 3 from Detroit. Crazy to think about that. They didn't go too far on the road trip, but they are returning home. So, again, return home spot. Sometimes you get back to family life. With a day off. I heard a stat. I forget exactly what the stat was, but I know that professional bettors have the numbers on this, and teams that are bad teams like Chicago is, I don't know if it's just below 500 or whatever it is, when they return home from a road trip with the day off and they're an underdog in the game, they have a really, really poor record in those games, so that's something to consider. I don't know if they will be an underdog here because it looks like Tampa has not actually decided on a starter, even though ESPN has one listed here. Tampa's at minus 145, so yeah, it looks like that will be the case. But if you might perceive maybe some value on the White Sox as a home underdog, I would worry about it. Again, returning home from a road trip and beating Detroit is a pretty big deal for the White Sox. I mean, they just won a series against the top team in the division, and with the White Sox having not a whole lot left to play for, they might come into this game, get a little bit distracted here by having to return to home life. Tampa Bay, they might be a bit pissed themselves because they just lost 3 games in a row to Cleveland. They also didn't play yesterday. Now they're going out on the road. They might take out some of their frustrations on the White Sox. Tampa is definitely the better of these two teams, though. Tampa, they're in a difficult division, man. I mean, they're not that bad this year. Their run differential indicates that they're one of the better teams in the American League, really. It's just that they have had a difficult schedule. Things have not gone their way. But they are definitely the better team over the White Sox. Tampa has the better bullpen. Tampa has the better offense as well. Adrian Hauser was listed as a starter for Tampa, even though it looks like they now are undecided. If it is going to be Hauser, he is good. That would mean that he is going to pitch against his former team. Hauser was good this year with the White Sox. A 3.01 ERA this year overall. 1.29 WHIP is a little bit high though, and 3.40 ERA on the road, but keep in mind that he pitched at home for most of the season, and at home he had a 2.54 ERA, but I don't know if that was because the home crowd was behind him or if it was because he pitches well in the stadium. Difficult to figure that out. Since being acquired by Tampa, he has not been anywhere near as good, though. His ERA has been close to 5 over that span, so that's not a good sign. But again, he might not pitch today, but if he does, he might get pumped up to pitch against his former team. But then again, is he really going to be pissed? Like, oh, the White Sox let me go. They let me go to a team that's better than you. Like, does that really piss a player off if you get traded away to a better team? I don't really know. The White Sox would know his tendencies too. But again, he might not pitch in this game. The White Sox have 2 hitters who have actually faced him before, and they're 0 for 5. Tauchman and Taylor, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts against him. Not a whole lot to really look at there. He might not pitch, like I said, so who knows. Yendrys Gomez is listed as a starter for the White Sox. He's been around, man. You want to talk about the town bicycle or whatever. Everybody's tried him out. The town test drive car. Everybody's taking him out for a ride this year, man. He's been on multiple different teams this year. His ERA is not good, 4.79. His WHIP, 1.55. That's even worse. At home over the course of the season, 3.75 ERA, though. So he's been better as a home pitcher. Some of that with the White Sox. He was mostly a relief pitcher. He was with the Yankees, then the Dodgers, then the White Sox. So he might actually be pissed that he's now on a terrible team. But he's pitched fairly well for the White Sox for the most part. His first month with the White Sox was rough, but then he settled in. His ERA was in the 3s in August, and one decent start this month. Held Minnesota to 1 earned run in 5 innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. But last month was a little bit misleading, 3.86 ERA, but 22 to 11 strikeout walk ratio is not actually good. So I don't think Gomez is actually that good. He is young, so there is room for improvement there, but his overall career numbers, his WHIP is still in the 1.5s. I mean, that's not great. Obviously, it's not good either. It's not good at all. Up against, who are we talking about here? I don't even remember now. Tampa Bay, right? Tampa Bay's never seen him before, so maybe he has a little bit of an unfamiliarity edge there because they haven't faced him before, but I would worry about that a bit. And yeah, it's hard to handicap because we don't even know who Tampa's starter is going to be, so it's very difficult to figure that game out. So that game is certainly a pass. Milwaukee at Texas, that's going to be a play I'm going to give out. Minnesota at Anaheim. Anaheim got absolutely annihilated yesterday, 12-3 against a Minnesota team that really can't hit. Anaheim has the better offense of these two teams. Minnesota probably has the better bullpen, although these bullpens are both bad. Looking at the bullpen usage, Minnesota has had some fairly heavy usage over the last couple of days. Anaheim, let me see if this thing will load. Anaheim has lighter bullpen usage over the last couple of days. So that kind of counteracts the fact that I think Anaheim's bullpen is actually worse than Minnesota's. They're both bad, though. Looking at the starting pitching matchup here, interesting was Zebby Matthews pitching for Minnesota here. Again, he's a young guy. He does have room to improve here. He does have decent strikeout stuff. 4.73 ERA, 1.42 whip on the season. Not great, obviously. And he's been pretty bad on the road. 5.77 road ERA. Although his last couple of starts are okay. He went 6 innings in each of them, allowed 3 earned runs total over that span. Had an 8-2 strikeout walk ratio. So he pitched fairly well there against San Diego and the White Sox. Both at home for him, though. So Matthews is still worse on the road. That White Sox offense is really not good. Matthews up against Anaheim. They only have 2 hitters who've ever seen it before, Nito and Ward. They only have 1 hit, although it is a home run from Ward. 1 strikeout from him as well, and no walks against Matthews. But it's such a small sample size. I don't know what you really do with that. There's not a lot to really put into that. Kyle Hendricks is pitching for Anaheim. Very mediocre season for him. I mean, he's an aging veteran who's basically is just a back end of the rotation type of guy. 4.81 ERA, 1.3 whip. He's been a little bit better at home. 4.74 ERA, really close home road splits though. He was pretty good in his last 2 outings at Houston and at Kansas City, so both on the road, but he only gave up 3 earned runs combined over those 12 innings. Only had 2 strikeouts though and 3 walks. That's a bit of a concern there. I mean, he's not really a strikeout pitcher, but more walks than strikeouts is not good. Up against Minnesota, he's actually been pretty awful in 28 at-bats. I know it's not a big sample size. 12-3 strikeout walk ratio is good, but a 321 batting average allowed, 923 OPS, that is not good. So Hendricks doesn't do well against Minnesota, and Matthews has that unfamiliarity edge built in. I think I would lean to Minnesota in the first 5 innings in this game, man, and just not deal with what the hell is going to happen with the bullpens here. Minnesota with, I guess, a little bit more bullpen usage. I think that was what I said yesterday. But if you want to keep the bullpens in, I do think Minnesota does still have the better bullpen over Anaheim. Anaheim's 3rd worst in all of baseball, but Minnesota, not that much above them, really. Again, yeah, that's probably the way that I would look. But the money's coming in just like yesterday on Anaheim, and it did not work out yesterday. Even though Nito, you can go find the highlights of this. Nito had a really crazy catch on like a, not really a pop fly, but on like kind of a weird ball that I think kind of went over the infield or whatever. And Nito, it like somehow bounced off of his glove and he still wound up catching it before it hit the ground. Go watch the video. It was a crazy, crazy play. But it didn't even matter because Anaheim got blown out anyway. But 56% of tickets are on Minnesota here. 77% of the cash coming in on Anaheim, though. So the money is backing Anaheim. Just seems a little bit odd to me. I mean, I don't really see the reasoning behind that for putting your money on Kyle Hendricks here. I just don't get it. Even though they might be pissed about yesterday's loss, I think Anaheim, as I keep saying, they're a team, they have a really bad run differential. They're really, really bad. Run differential is the worst in the American League, so they're even worse than their record looks, man. So that's another part of that equation that I don't really understand there, why the money is coming in that heavily on Anaheim, and it was yesterday too. Although yesterday I kind of more was inclined to agree with it yesterday. Today, not really. So kind of strange. But yeah, I mean, slightly into Minnesota first 5 for me in that one with that starting pitching matchup. There was one other thing I was going to say about that, and now I forget what it was. Yeah, maybe that's all I was going to say. Cincinnati, San Diego, I'm going to give out a play on that one as well, and I think that's the last play that I have. St. Louis, Seattle, so I will have 4 plays. Seattle has won 3 in a row now. They did win yesterday despite being in a return home spot. From the East Coast, they still won against St. Louis, and I pointed out there were some issues that I had with that. Seattle was a big favorite, but I wasn't really jumping out of my seat to fade them there with Brian Wu on the mound, and it looks like he still pitched pretty well. So Seattle, they got that game out of the way in the return home spot. Seattle does have more to play for. Oh, yeah, I was going to say Minnesota and Anaheim also have nothing left to play for. That's what I was going to say. Seattle is trying to play for potentially their division. They're trying to make the playoffs. They're in the wild card hunt. St. Louis is done for the season, so there might be some more motivation on the Seattle side. Both bullpens are fairly good and pretty well rested after the last couple of days. So the bullpen situation looks pretty decent for both teams. Matthew Liberatore is going to be pitching for the Cardinals here. His numbers are not great. 4.15 ERA, 1.3 whip is not good. Very, very similar home road splits. Very insignificant. Was good last time out against the A's. Had 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 4 hits allowed, no earned runs allowed, in 5 1/3. Wasn't very good over the past month, though. In August, 19-10 strikeout walk ratio, 5.4 ERA. So I'm not ready to say that he's all of a sudden like pitching well. Against Seattle, he does have good numbers in a small 17 at-bat sample size, though. 1 strikeout, 2 walks isn't good, but he's held him to a 176 average, 498 OPS, and the only extra base hit is a double from Garver. So Liberatore has done well against him, but will he continue to do well in this game? I'm not so sure. George Kirby pitching for Seattle. His numbers are pretty mediocre this year, 4.47 ERA, 1.23 whip. I mean, he just has games where he just completely implodes, but he also is really good, like more often than he isn't. At home, he is good, 3.16 ERA at home. Again, these Seattle pitchers do way better at home. He just got roughed up completely on the road against Tampa, another one of his awful, awful starts. But that was a very hitter-friendly ballpark, in Steinbrenner Field, the spring training stadium that Tampa plays in. So maybe you give him a pass for that, even though he got really, really wrecked in that game. Only lasted 2 innings, 7 earned runs, 10 hits allowed, 1 strikeout, no walks. But the prior month in August, he did get blown up against the Mets. But other than that, he was really good. And even including that Mets start, he had a 3.52 ERA and 29-8 strikeout walk ratio over that span. Going back into late July, he's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in all but 2 starts. So he's usually good, and then when he's bad, he's really bad. So you just have to avoid those like minefields, basically, with Kirby. Is this going to be one of those games where he does really bad? I don't think so, because St. Louis, their offense has been one of the worst since the All-Star break. Very bad offense. Seattle definitely has the offensive edge here as I knock my mic cord down there. Kirby, not a lot of familiarity with St. Louis here. St. Louis only has 9 at-bats against him, 3 strikeouts, no walks, 222 batting average, allowed 556 OPS. So Kirby does pretty well against St. Louis when he does see them. As far as that game is concerned, I mean, Seattle, they're a big favorite. They're up to minus 204, so the money line has ticked up a little bit from minus 200. 75% of tickets, only 72% of the cash, though, so they're public. Looks like the money's coming in against Kirby. I mean, maybe there are some reasons to look towards an under in this game. I mean, the bullpens are pretty intact here. They're decent bullpens. Kirby's good at home. Both pitchers are pretty unfamiliar with the opposing hitters, and when they have faced them, they have been good. 71% of tickets, only 61% of the cash on the over, and it's a total of 7.5, even though it's flipped to 7.5 juice to the over. I mean, the under may be worth considering. Maybe that is actually the better way to look at this game, but I do have hesitations about that. Hard RR, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Arizona at San Francisco. This is a battle of really contrasting styles of teams here, as Arizona has the way better offense. San Francisco has the way better bullpen. Both teams are really close in the standings, too. San Francisco won yesterday, though, and won big time, 11-5. That's not something you usually see. San Francisco putting up 11 runs, especially at home. The San Francisco offense is not good, and especially at home, they're not. This is a very pitcher-friendly park for the most part, but San Francisco padded their lead in the division against Arizona, but I don't know if that really matters because I don't think either of these teams are going anywhere this year, and I think they both know that. As far as the starting pitching, Zach Gallen is pitching up for Arizona. Arizona, by the way, might be pissed off about losing 11-5 yesterday. Zach Gallen has not had a great season, really. And again, I keep pointing out he is better. Like, if you look at his career numbers, he's better than his season numbers suggest. 4.77 ERA, 1.28 whip, not great this season. He is slightly better on the road, 4.7 ERA on the road, and he might pitch better in this game because it's a pitcher-friendly ballpark, not a very strong offense. Gallen's been really good over the last month plus, though, going back to the beginning of August. He had a 2.57 ERA in August, a 28-9 strikeout walk ratio, not bad. This month, he kicked it off with a 6-inning shutout against Texas. Not a good offense, but still he shut them down. 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, 4 hits allowed. Hasn't allowed a run in his last 2 starts, including one against the Dodgers. So he's in pretty good form right now, man. Had a high strikeout rate against the Dodgers and the Reds. He's allowed no more than 3 earned runs throughout that entire span, going back through the beginning of August. So he is pitching well right now. His numbers against the Giants are good in 94 at-bats. The 27-13 strikeout walk ratio is not good. Too many walks, but 181 batting average allowed and 621 OPS is a little bit high, again, just because of the walks, basically. But Gallen, he is a little bit better on the road. He's in better form right now, and he does do well against San Francisco. So some things look good for him coming into this game. Robbie Ray is pitching for the Giants. He's having a good season, man. 3.31 ERA, 1.18 whip. One thing you might have to worry about with him is he wearing down at all? But maybe he isn't, because, I mean, he's been around for so long. He's used to throwing this many innings in a season, although he hasn't done it since 2022 because he was, I believe, injured for a bit. I think. I don't know. Or maybe he was just out of the major leagues. I don't know. But this has been like kind of an outlier of a season for him, but he's kept it up this whole season, so you do have to put stock into the fact that he's been doing it for the entire season. 3.33 ERA at home, so he's only slightly worse at home. But the question is he actually wearing down? Because I said he hasn't thrown this many innings for a few years now. His last 2 starts were both bad. He didn't last 5 innings in either of them. I know his team won both of them, but he allowed 10 earned runs combined across whatever that is, 9 innings pitched. That's not a good sign. One of them was against Baltimore, which is pretty inexcusable at home, too. In this pitcher-friendly park, gave up 6 earned runs. That's not good. I mean, you could give him a pass if it was just the Rockies game, because pitching at Coors Field, a little bit difficult, so maybe he just doesn't handle the elevation that well. But 2 bad starts in a row. Did have a lot of strikeouts against the Rockies, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. But the prior 2 starts, he had 7 walks and only 5 strikeouts against Milwaukee and Baltimore. So there are definitely some concerns with Ray right now. His numbers are good against Arizona, though, in 37 at-bats, 10-3 strikeout walk ratio, 135 average allowed, 497 OPS. Although 2 of the 5 hits he's allowed are home runs to Marte and McCann. But I actually think that maybe there's a reason to lean towards Arizona in the first 5 innings here. Gallen, to me, looks like he actually has the sneaky advantage against Ray in this one based on their recent form. So maybe that's the way that I would lean in this game. I wouldn't want to include Arizona's bullpen in any form at all, though. So it would be a first 5-inning lean there. San Francisco's down from -140 to -135, but 54% of tickets on them, 64% of the cash on them. So the money looks like it is kind of coming in on San Francisco. Again, I would only agree with Arizona in the first 5, though. You get them at an underdog price there and hope that Gallen duels Ray into the latter part of the game. The money's coming in on the under as well. 75% of tickets on the over, 63% of the cash on the under. I guess take from all that what you will. I don't really disagree with the under, but you do have to worry about Ray possibly being in a situation where he's wearing down at the end of the season. Red Sox, my Red Sox are at the A's. The Red Sox did get the job done yesterday. Got a good start from Crochet. Shut the A's out 7-0. So a win for the Red Sox. The A's are in a return home spot. And, I point out that when a team returns home from a long road trip like that, and if they don't do well in that first game, it can be a bounce-back spot in the next game, and they will focus. But you got to think the A's will have focus anyway because it's the Red Sox coming into their place. Whenever you get one of those bigger-name teams coming into your park, I think you tend to want to step up and do better. The A's don't do particularly well at home, though. I mean, it's not really a home stadium. They're playing in a AAA stadium. The A's have the worst of the 2 bullpens. They used a little bit more of theirs yesterday, too. So the Red Sox definitely have a bullpen edge. The A's have the better offense, although it's a slight offensive advantage. Part of it also because the Red Sox they have some injuries here that they're dealing with. Very unfortunately, Roman Anthony. We want him to come back, man. A lot of these young guys just injured for the Red Sox, and if they're injury prone, that's going to be a real problem. Dustin May is pitching for the Red Sox. I'm not a fan. Don't think it was a good acquisition for the Red Sox. His numbers are not great this year between being with the Dodgers and with the Red Sox. 4.96 ERA, 1.42 whip. He's been really bad on the road. 6.59 road ERA. Way higher home run rate on the road as well. More home runs allowed in fewer innings pitched. So that's a concern as well, man. Dustin May pitching in this ballpark, that could be an issue. He only lasted 3 innings last time out against Cleveland. I don't know if he had a shortened start or came out of the bullpen or what, because he wasn't actually bad in that outing. Gave up 1 earned run, but he did have 1 strikeout and 2 walks. That's not a great sign. Again, the walks have been bad, man. He's got 14 strikeouts over his last 4 appearances, but over that same span, he has 11 walks, I think is what that is. So really, really bad strikeout walk ratio. He's not pitching well right now, man. And the 2 outings before that Cleveland outing gave up 11 earned runs over a span of 9 2/3 innings or whatever that is. That's pretty bad. One of them against Pittsburgh. That's inexcusable, giving up that many runs against Pittsburgh. Very, very weak offense, and it was at Fenway Park. Pittsburgh, very, very weak offensively on the road. So I don't trust May, man. I do not. Even though the A's basically have no experience off him. Only Bleday has ever seen him, and he's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts and a walk. So May at least has an unfamiliarity edge here against the A's, but I think you got to worry about him, man. Jeffrey Springs is pitching for the A's. He's been pretty decent this year. 4.13 ERA, 1.18 whip. He is worse at home. I mean, again, it's a very difficult park to pitch in. He's allowed more home runs in the stadium and fewer innings pitched. So both pitchers are in their bad side of the home road splits and their bad side of the home road splits. Springs 4.73 ERA at home. He's been decent over the past month or so, really. I mean, he's allowed more than 3 earned runs only twice, going all the way back into late July. More than 4 earned runs only once. He's been all right. I mean, his ERA still wasn't that great, I guess, though, in August, 5.04. Had one start this month, and it was pretty good. 6 innings, allowed 2 earned runs against St. Louis, but he got absolutely no run support and took the loss in the game. 4-1 strikeout walk ratio. But again, St. Louis, they've basically packed it in. Their offense has been terrible at the end of, basically in the latter half of the season. So I don't know if I'm ready to say Springs is in really good form, but he's not pitching horribly either. Against the Red Sox, weird numbers against the Red Sox. It's a small sample size, 23 at-bats, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, not a good ratio there. He's held him to a 217 batting average, though, because he's only allowed 5 hits to them, but he's allowed an 889 OPS because 3 of the hits have been home runs from Lowe, Ref Snyder, and Story. So when the Red Sox hit him, they have taken him yard. So, I mean, that could be kind of fluky, though. Home run stats are pretty fluky, so I mean, like a small sample size like that at the very least. I think the home run stats pitching in this stadium or whatever are more something you really have to take into account, though. I don't know, man. I mean, I would slightly lean to the A's in this game. It is a bounce-back spot for them after a bad game in the return home spot. I don't trust Dustin May. Springs has been a bit better than he has this year. 70% of tickets, only 61% of the cash on the Red Sox, unfortunately. Red Sox are a public road team here with less of the money coming in on them, and the A's look like they've kind of shifted towards being a favorite from plus 103 to minus 105, so it also looks way too easy to take the Red Sox as an underdog. And you know I warn you about public road underdogs, man. So I think the A's could be the right side here. The money seems to be coming in on the over as well. It's going up to 10 with heavy juice on the over. 56% of the cash on the under makes no sense to me. I don't know why the public would want anything to do with an under in this game. 61% of the cash on the over, though. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I could potentially see both offenses doing something. I mean, the A's bullpen is really bad, though, so I guess that's one thing I should point out. In leaning to the A's, I think you should limit it to the first 5 innings if you play the A's here, because their bullpen is at a major disadvantage, so I would only do it in the first 5 innings. And the over somewhat makes sense, too, but you do have to worry about the fact the Red Sox bullpen is decent, but if May is out of the game early, that will kind of domino into the bullpen, so I wouldn't disagree with an over in that game. LA against Colorado. I did say yesterday I thought Colorado would hold the game close in the first 5 innings because we knew Dollander was pitching for them, and he's not that bad on the road. And the Dodgers had not listed a starter yet. So I was like, yeah, maybe you take a shot. And Colorado was actually winning after the first 5 innings. What I didn't realize was going to happen was the Dodgers were going to go with Glasnow. And he wound up pitching well and getting the win, but the Dodgers scored all their runs after the 5th inning. So that's crazy. So if you did take my suggestion and go with Colorado anyway, despite Glasnow being on the mound, and you know how good he is, you still would have gotten the win on that one in Colorado first 5 innings. So I like that. Why not? I don't like that both of my actual plays failed yesterday. Dodgers only used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. Their bullpen's not good, but it is better than the Colorado bullpen. And Colorado's bullpen usage has been pretty crazy over the last few days, although some of it was Senzatella, who I guess they sent to the bullpen because he sucks, and he was not good in their starting rotation. German Marquez is going to be pitching for Colorado here, and obviously the Dodgers have the better offense here too. Colorado really weak offensively on the road, and the Dodgers are really, really good offensively at home. Marquez for the Rockies, not great, obviously. Worse than that, 6.19 ERA, 1.71 WHIP is really bad. He is less bad on the road with a 5.95 ERA. I mean, pitching in Coors Field sucks. He hasn't been good recently. I mean, he missed a lot of time. He missed over a month, really, and then he came back and he got hammered by the Cubs for 8 runs in 4 1/3 innings, 8 earned. And then San Francisco, he did a little bit better in that game, gave up 4 earned runs. Both those games in Coors Field, though, but he had more walks than strikeouts over that span. 6 walks to 2 strikeouts. So I'm not ready to put any faith in Marquez, although his numbers against the Dodgers are not really as bad as you would think. In 158 at-bats, 38-14 strikeout walk ratio, 247 batting average, 808 OPS. The OPS is high. He's allowed 12 home runs to them, so that's a lot of home runs. The rest of the numbers are not too bad. But he's going up against Emmett Sheehan, who is a very talented young pitcher for the Dodgers, and he's turned his numbers around this season too. 3.59 ERA, 1.16 WHIP. He's been good. He's been better at home as well, 2.63 ERA at home. His last outing wasn't great at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has been playing pretty well at home, though, but he only lasted 4 2/3 innings. He gave up 2 earned runs, both on home runs. Did have 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, 5 hits allowed. It wasn't a horrendous start for him, but it was against a bad offense. He didn't get any run support in the game. He threw too many pitches, but leading up to that, he was pitching well. In the month of August, 3.52 ERA, 28-6 strikeout walk ratio. Sheehan, he is good, and he's up against a lineup that just really is not good on the road, or really even that good in general. Colorado, though, they have seen him in 32 at-bats. He does have 11 strikeouts and 2 walks against him, so a lot of strikeouts. 250 average, allowed 732 OPS, so Sheehan's numbers are okay against Colorado. I mean, they probably should be better against a lineup that's that bad, but actually we should look, because I think Sheehan may have actually faced them in Coors Field. Yeah, he did. So that was basically, I think all of his stats against them were recently in August. He pitched at Coors Field, 6 innings. He had 4 earned runs, still had 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. So that start wasn't actually that bad. It was in high elevation. But what that does mean is that Colorado is recently familiar with him now. So sometimes when these young pitchers, like I say, the hitters see them for the first time, they don't do as well, and then they don't do that well, and then the next time out they do a little bit better. So I guess that would worry me a little bit about Sheehan here, but the Dodgers do have the edge across the board in this game. They have the better starting pitching, the better bullpen, and the better hitting. But you're paying a huge price. They're up from -290 to -305. 91% of tickets, 98% of the cash coming in on the Dodgers here. I think if you want to look at this game, I think probably the better way to do it is, again, Dodgers team total over. Probably just to go with the Dodgers to score more than they did last night. They score a lot at home typically. They're facing a bad starting pitcher, a bad bullpen. So that's probably the way that I would go with that game. All right, so that was the breakdown. I forgot to put the graphic up again. Let's go to the best bets, man. It's going to take a little while. We got 4 best bets. But I do like these plays, man. Hopefully we can get this done. Won't be too long of a video. First one was one that I gave out a lean on yesterday. I'm actually going to go with it this time and watch it lose this time, even though it was 100% correct yesterday. It was a really easy one, but we're going to go over Washington, Miami in this, the first play that I have here. Again, I just think this is a bad pitching matchup. You're looking at bad bullpens. Washington's bullpen is one of the worst. Their bullpen usage is still in pretty bad shape as well. So I don't love it for them. I don't really love it for Miami either. A lot of bullpen usage, although the bullpen usage coming into yesterday was actually worse for both teams. And yesterday's game went way over the total. They scored 22 runs in the game yesterday. But I think that can kind of carry over into this game. You're looking at 2 teams that really don't have a whole lot left to play for. And sometimes that can lead to just kind of loose hitting, and, the pitchers don't really give as much of a shit. You know what I mean? It kind of becomes like a fun game more so. You know what I mean? I know it's a divisional game, and teams might want to beat each other for that reason, but the starting pitching, this is also a train wreck, man. Mitchell Parker for Washington. Like yesterday, the pitchers were a bit more unknown, and I thought the pitchers, maybe it was a little bit less likely to go over the total yesterday, looking at the starting pitching matchup, than this starting pitching matchup. So again, watch this one not go over. Hopefully it does. But Mitchell Parker, I mean, he's been awful this season. 5.87 ERA, 1.48 whip. He's been even worse on the road, so you get the better of the home road split going against him here. 6.68 road ERA. Not in good recent form either. I mean, he didn't last 5 innings last time out, and that was against Miami. So Miami just saw him. So again, pitching against Miami again right away, they just faced him. So they'll be used to hitting against him. So that's another advantage to the bats for Miami here. He had one decent start against Tampa Bay the start before that, but the starts prior to that, he allowed 4 or more earned runs in all of them throughout the month of August. His August was unbelievably bad. 10.21 ERA in August, 20-11 strikeout walk ratio, and it really didn't get a whole lot better with that start against Miami, even though he only allowed 2 earned runs in 4 2/3, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, but I'm not ready to trust him at all. And his numbers against Miami overall are not good. In 51 at-bats, 8.4 strikeout walk ratio, not good. 294 batting average, not good. 836 OPS, not good. 3 home runs allowed, although 2 of them are from Ramirez, but August and Ramirez, but even still, Parker, I mean, he's definitely a pitcher that is a fade. Like, I don't know if there's a situation where you'd ever want to play on Mitchell Parker. And Adam Mazur is pitching from Miami here. Mazur, I don't know how you pronounce his name. He's a young guy. Maybe there's some upside there, but looking at his career stats, it's ugly. He was on San Diego last year, which means he pitched at a pitcher-friendly park, and his numbers were horrific. Last year, his ERA was over 7. His whip was 1.81. This year, not much better. 5.74 ERA, 1.53 whip, putting a lot of guys on base, and he's in the worst of his home road split being at home, so we get the pitchers in their worst of the home road splits on both sides here. He has a 6.35 ERA at home. That's bad. Last time out, he faced Washington, and they obliterated him for 10 hits in 6 innings. Somehow, he held them to 4 earned runs. It should have been worse than that. He didn't walk anybody. He had 5 strikeouts, so that's pretty good. But even that's kind of unlike him. I mean, he usually has problems with the walks. He's only made 3 appearances this season, and that was his longest appearance was against Washington. But this will be the first time this season he's facing a team for the second time. They just saw him, and they already did well against him. So the hitting has another edge in this game because both lineups just saw both these starting pitchers. So that's another disadvantage for both pitchers. Yeah, this looks like a train wreck to me, man, for the starting pitchers here, too. It looks like basically every factor you look for an over is coming into play in this game. So it's an over for me. 83% of tickets, only 69% of the cash on the over, but the total did go up from 8.5 juice to the over all the way to 9 juice to the over. 9 is a key number, so I don't know if I buy these percentages here because it does look like the money is coming in. At least it drove the total up through a significant number, which is 9, a key number. You want to get the best of that number 9 if you can. But yeah, I think it's an over. And then as far as the side in that game, 65% of tickets, only 51% of the cash on Washington. So Washington's actually public for whatever reason. Miami down from -125 to -116. Do with that info what you will. Washington did win yesterday. They were the team that put up 15 runs yesterday. So even though the money line dropped on Miami, it does look like Miami's the anti-public home favorite there as well. But I think the over is the way to look there. We're also going to go Houston plus 135. I think we get a good price on the Houston Astros here, and I think they're flying under the radar here, man. I actually like this one. Actually, hold on a minute. I'm going to scratch this one. I apologize, man. I actually worry about I'm going to handicap this game anyway, but I'm going to scratch that one because I liked it. It was supposed to be Barrios against Garcia, which I'll show you here. That's what it was. So I was going to go with them because Barrios has not been pitching well. I was like, oh, man, I like this for Houston here with Garcia. But I'm going to re-handicap this, but I worry about it now because Shane Bieber is pitching for Toronto now. So I'm going to re-handicap this game right now. I don't think I'm going to give out a play on it now, but I wish it was Barrios because he hasn't really been in good form, man. His numbers against Houston are not really that good, so that's what I was going to go with. But now it's going to be Bieber. So we'll handicap this game anyway. Toronto's returning home from a road trip, so that was part of the reason why I was going to fade them. Again, returning home from a road trip, teams can tend to lack a little bit of focus, although I know they're facing Houston. That is a big series. It's a big series for both teams. Both teams fighting for playoff positioning and trying to maintain leads in their divisions. But Toronto's coming off that series against the Yankees, man. That was a huge series. Plus the return home spot. Plus, I think Toronto's a little bit overrated. I don't think they're quite as good as their record looks. I believe the Yankees and the Red Sox both have a better run differential than Toronto. And I think Tampa is actually pretty close as well. So Toronto's not really as good as they look. So all that being considered, and Houston's coming off a series against Texas where I believe they didn't do too well. They lost 2 out of the 3. So I think Houston, it's better for them to just leave town, although they weren't at home. They were on the road there. But leave town, it feels like you're basically starting a road trip at this point. Just get out of there. Go up there. So I liked the spot for Houston. Houston does have the better bullpen as well. Toronto's bullpen has been a mess recently, man. So Houston's bullpen is the better one to go with. I know they're both rested here after yesterday because both teams were off yesterday. But Houston definitely has the better bullpen. Toronto does have the better offense, though. But Luis Garcia, I mean, again, part of the reason why I liked Houston initially is because I think Garcia's flying under the radar, man, because he's been a guy who was injured. He missed, I think, the entirety of last year, basically, or something like that, or most of it. And he came back this year, and he's been okay. 4.5 ERA. 0.5 whip is really good. Of course, it's a very limited sample size so far. It's one start where he faced Anaheim, went 6 innings, he gave up 3 earned runs on only 3 hits, 2 home runs. So maybe a little bit of a fluke there. Had 6 strikeouts, no walks. It was a good start from him. So Garcia, if you look at his stats overall, he was good. When he actually last had a full season in 2022, and his career numbers are actually really good with an ERA in the mid-3s and a whip in the 1.1s. So he's been good, man. So I'm expecting Garcia to return to what he once was, even though he missed all of last year. Probably had Tommy John surgery because that's the thing now. All these guys going out there getting a little T&J over there. But his numbers against Toronto are also pretty good. An 80 at bats, 22-1 strikeout walk ratio, really good numbers for that strikeout walk ratio. That's crazy. Really good command. 250 batting average, 622 OPS. So Garcia does do well against Toronto. So that was leading me to want to go on Houston here. And if it was Barrios, I'd be doing it, man. But now it's going to be Shane Bieber, the Biebs, and he is good, man. Bieber is another guy who had Tommy John surgery. He just came back from injury this year as well, so very similar. So this is the battle of the TJ, man. And Bieber has been good since he came back as well. He's got a 4.15 ERA, which is not great, but 0.81 whip indicates he has been pitching well. He's been better at home, 3.38 ERA at home. His one bad start was last time up, but it was at Great American Ballpark, so it's a hitter-friendly ballpark, although he didn't give up any home runs. He kind of got unlucky, man. He gave up 5 earned runs on only 5 hits and 2 walks, so Cincinnati was very efficient with runners in scoring position in that game, it looks like. 6-2 strikeout walk ratio is good. Overall, he has a 21-2 strikeout walk ratio in his 3 starts this season so far. He went 6 innings in 2 of the 3. Faced pretty good lineups the last couple times out Milwaukee, and then Cincinnati's not too bad either. So Bieber, he's faced some good offenses. Up against Houston, those numbers are actually bad. Do I still want to go with Houston here? 46 at bats, 13-4 strikeout walk ratio is not that terrific. 304 average and 882 OPS. It's interesting, man. So I actually still somewhat lean to Houston in this one. Toronto's down from -160 to -147, which is also interesting because you think that when Toronto announced that it's Bieber instead of Barrios, you would think that the line would move towards Toronto because Bieber is better than Barrios, but that's not what happened. So that's interesting. And Toronto's public, 75% of tickets, 78% of the cash, but I'm not sure I buy that. I think the money might still be coming in towards Houston here. I'm less tempted to do it, though. I was going to do it to fade Barrios. But Bieber, I like Bieber. I think I'm just going to stay away from this game, but I still lean to Houston slightly. You get a pretty good underdog price on them. I think they do have a pretty big bullpen edge here. Money also on the under. 54% of tickets, 58% of the cash coming in on the under. You do have rested bullpens. Toronto's bullpen is definitely a concern, though. They've been bad recently. So that's kind of the one component for the under that worries me the most, although Bieber's numbers against Houston are still pretty bad as well. So that would worry me a little bit as well. But, yeah, I mean, I don't really disagree with an under. I could see doing it in the first 5 innings. I think both starting pitchers are actually pitched pretty well here, but if it's a close, low-scoring game, that also still means that Houston probably has, there's value on Houston as an underdog here, man. If you're saying that, well, the game's going to be at least close between Garcia and Bieber, and then Houston has the better bullpen, it does seem like the value is still on Houston as the underdog there. So I would lean that way still. But I am mad that it's that the pitching change happened there. Milwaukee at Texas. I'm going to give out the under. Milwaukee at Texas, 8.5. Under 8.5 in this one. The starting pitching matchup has a lot of unfamiliarity here. I see 73% of tickets and cash on the under, which kind of worries me. 8.5. The number's just sitting there at 8.5. And the money's coming in on Milwaukee, so that makes me less worried about the under because Jack Leiter is the pitcher who's in better form right now out of the two, and the money's coming in against Texas, down from -110 to -105. 62% of tickets on them, 54% of the cash coming in on Milwaukee. So the money's coming in on Milwaukee. Milwaukee didn't get it done for me yesterday, man. Quintana outlasted Latz, like I said, and Texas was just ridiculously efficient in scoring. So they only had 6 hits, and they scored 5 runs off of it. Ridiculous. Of course, Milwaukee has the better offense here. So that may be part of the reason why the money's coming in towards Milwaukee. They only used 1 relief pitcher yesterday. So the bullpens, they're both decent bullpens. Milwaukee's the more rested of the 2 bullpens. So you might actually have to give Milwaukee a slight bullpen edge here. Their ERAs are fairly close on the season. Texas is a little bit less rested. Then the starting pitching, Chad Patrick is pitching. The reason why I like the under is you got a lot of unfamiliarity here, man. Chad Patrick, he's been decent for Milwaukee, and he's facing a bad lineup here in Texas, so remember that. And a lot of low-scoring games happen in this stadium as well. It's a pitcher-friendly ballpark. 3.6 ERA for Patrick, 1.3 whip is not that great. He's been worse on the road, so I know we're going against his worst of the home road split here, 4.43 ERA on the road. This makes it look like I guess he was down in the minors for a little bit. I was like, where the hell was he? So he missed his last start in the majors. They sent him down to the minors, but he wasn't terrible. Over his last few starts, he gave up 3 or fewer earned runs in his last 4 starts. So he actually was pitching a little bit better, and then they sent him down. His walk numbers were a little bit high, but overall he wasn't bad. Just pretty mediocre, and I think mediocrity is decent enough to help us get this under here, in my opinion. And it might be decent enough to hold this Texas lineup down because they're not a good lineup. Patrick also, again, has never faced Texas before, so he has a little bit of an extra edge there. When you have these young pitchers that haven't been seen before by these opposing lineups, that's an extra advantage. I don't know if I'm making any appearances on any shows. I don't have anything lined up right now, so I'm not sure. I don't think so. The last one I was on was I was on Stu Peters maybe like 2 weeks ago. But I don't think I've done anything since then. I did do a space, actually, more recently than that on the Golden Shower Power Hour because they stole every idea from Tower Gang, which used to be the Tower Power Hour, and they even stole the 9/11 start time. But I was on their show within the last week or so. I think it was me and Perry Abbasi, who was a really funny dude. I think it was good. It was a funny space. You can go find that on Twitter. It was a space. It was audio only. Jack Leiter for Texas, he's having a good season at this point, man, because he's been really good recently. 3.74 ERA, 1.29 whip is still a little bit high, but he's turning it around, man. Leiter, he's definitely a talented pitcher, man, and it's starting to show. He's been good in this stadium, 3.09 ERA here. His last 3 starts, he's gone at least 6 innings in all 3, and he's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in all 3. His strikeout rate went way up again. He had 15 strikeouts and 5 walks over that, or excuse me, no, he had 25 strikeouts and 5 walks over that span, so a really high strikeout rate. Really good numbers there. Leiter, he's in good form right now, man. He's lighting it up right now. And over that span, he also only gave up 10 hits in 19 innings pitched or whatever that is. So Leiter is in form right now, man. One of those games was at the A's, and another one was at Arizona, too. So those are good offenses in really hitter-friendly ballparks, and he still pitched well. So Leiter has found something, man. And Milwaukee only has 2 hitters who've ever seen him before, Jansen and Vaughn, and they're 0 for 4 off him lifetime with 2 strikeouts and no walks. So Leiter has completely shut them out, and the rest of the lineup has never faced him before. So again, a lot of unfamiliarity here. So Leiter should be able to do well here against Milwaukee with the fact that they've never seen him before. So we're going to go under in that game, man. Milwaukee, Texas, under the 8.5. Tower Gang, I think it's dead, man. I don't think it's coming back. Top Lobster is not going to work with Clint anymore. It all sucks. I love all these guys. Cole is about to have his second baby, or his wife is about to have their second baby, so he has a lot on his plate, and he's dealing with a lot of work stuff as well. So, yeah, I don't think it's coming back, which makes me probably want to kill myself because I need a comedy outlet, man. And this is not really it, even though I can be somewhat funny on this show. It's like a different mindset. I can't quite get into that mindset. And finally, I'm going to give out a run line play on a home team. I know it's a little bit worrisome. I know it's a pitcher-friendly ballpark, and if the team doesn't have enough runs later in the game, and they're winning, they won't bat in the ninth inning. I know there's a concern there, but San Diego, -1.5 at +115. I think they have an edge in this game, man. Both teams, this is San Diego against Cincinnati. Both teams are fighting here, man. San Diego's one game out, but Cincinnati, they might be feeling like maybe they're out of it at this point, man. I know they're technically still in the wild card race, but they're probably not feeling as good. San Diego, they're really trying to keep pace with the Dodgers right now. They're in the wild card hunt. Yes, both teams will show up, but San Diego does also have the momentum. They've won 3 games in a row, including beating Cincinnati yesterday. San Diego has the better bullpen. They did have a lot of bullpen usage yesterday, which does worry me a little bit. They used 6 relievers, but they used 3 of them for single-digit pitches. So I think those guys are available again today if they really want to use them. So I'm going to keep San Diego in. Plus, if you're going run line, you kind of have to go full game. But also, look at what Cincinnati did yesterday. They literally used every one of their relievers. So San Diego does still have the more rested bullpen here. That must have been an extra inning game, right? I didn't look. It was a 4-3 game. Yeah, it was a 10-inning game. And San Diego won in dramatic fashion with a walk-off sac fly by Fernando Tatis. But again, that could actually kind of be a dagger to Cincinnati as well, man. Losing dramatically like that, I think that actually will give San Diego a little bit of momentum coming into this game and kind of wreck Cincinnati's mindset a little bit, man. I mean, if both of those teams are going on to face different series, I would kind of look to maybe go against both teams. But in the same series, I mean, I don't know, man. I think that's kind of a heartbreaking loss for Cincinnati. So I think that helps San Diego's mindset here. And, of course, if I'm doing this run line situation here with San Diego, you know I like San Diego starting pitching better, and I do. Zach Littell is pitching for the Reds. I know his numbers look good on the season, 3.81 ERA, 1.14 whip, and it's more impressive given that he's been doing this at Tampa Bay and at Cincinnati because those are the 2 teams that have had him this year, and both those stadiums are hitter-friendly. But I just don't think Littell is actually as good as he looks. He doesn't walk a lot of guys, but he gives up a lot of hard contact. He's been a little bit worse on the road, 3.93 ERA. Go figure, he actually pitches better at home. Makes no sense. He's allowed a whopping 34 home runs this year, though, and allowed more of them on the road, although in more innings pitched. But his home run rate doesn't really change between home and away, which is ridiculous. His last outing was not good against Toronto. He gave up 5 earned runs and 4 1/3. 6 strikeouts, 1 walk was good. Again, he always has a good strikeout-walk ratio, but he gave up 4 home runs in that game, and he's allowed 7 home runs in his last 3 starts. So he's getting obliterated, and I know that this is not a home run-friendly ballpark here, but he's not in good form right now, man. I know his ERA was good in August, 3.9 ERA, but he's failed to go 5 innings in 2 of his last 3 outings. I know one of them was at Arizona, difficult park to pitch him, but still, I think Littell is just not in great form here, man. And San Diego lights him up. 76 at-bats, 13-4 strikeout walk ratio is all right for him, but 342 average, allowed an 857 OPS, so he has not done well against San Diego. They've been able to hit him, and he's going up against Michael King. The King is back, baby. The return of the King. Here we go, man. That's Lord of the Rings, right? Hopefully this is an Oscar-winning performance here from the return of the King here. Michael King, man, he's a good starter, and he's been on the injured list. But, I talk about this when veterans like King, who've been in the league for a while, I mean, he's 30 years old. He's been in the league for a while. When veterans like that come back from the injured list, especially when they're returning to a contending team like this, I think they're, super pumped to come back and make that start, man. And I didn't look at what he did in the minors, but King is a very good pitcher, so I think he's going to be ready to go, man. I mean, in a playoff race like this, they're not going to bring him back in unless they know that he can do this. So I like that. I think the team's going to be pumped to have him back. So I think that's going to be extra focus for San Diego. And King was good before he went down this year, man. 2.81 ERA, 1.09 whip. He was basically San Diego's best starting pitcher. He was better at home as well, 2.45 ERA at home. He did pitch on August 9th. It looks like he maybe tried to come back against the Red Sox. I don't remember that at all. And he only lasted 2 innings, so that wasn't great. He threw a lot of pitches. 57 pitches, gave up 2 earned runs, 1 strikeout, 2 walks. Then he went back on the injured list. I don't know, something happened as far as his injury situation. So he didn't pitch that well there, but overall, he's definitely a good pitcher, man. Does tend to walk a few too many guys, but he's very hard to hit. He strikes guys out. His numbers are good on the season. And then we look at his numbers against the Cincinnati Reds here. He's done really well against the Reds in 51 at-bats. They only have 9 hits against him and 2 extra base hits, which are both doubles from Steer and Stevenson. 17 strikeouts, 4 walks. That's a good ratio. 176 batting average, allowed him 452 OPS. So King has done well against them. I know when we look at the market's going to be against San Diego. I know they will be. Actually, it's not. They're public, 89% of tickets, but 92% of the cash, and they're up from minus 170 to minus 184, although maybe some of that movement was because maybe King wasn't announced right away, and then when he was, the number moved up. Could try to figure that out. But I think San Diego's the right side here, man. Looks like maybe the money is actually agreeing with it. The money's coming in on the under as well. Total drop from 8 to 8 juice to the under, so a significant move towards the under. It's headed towards 7.5. 70% of tickets on the over, 94% of the cash on the under. I mean, I could see the argument for the under maybe in that both starting pitchers have good numbers, but I think Littell is sneakily not really that good. King is definitely the guy with the better stuff, the guy that's much more difficult to hit. So that's what I prefer here. And if you were going to do the under, I would say you would have to take the bullpens out of the equation because both bullpens pretty used after yesterday. But San Diego has an elite bullpen, man. So their bullpen's going to be in better shape against a Cincinnati pen that used every single arm. So that's what we're going to go with San Diego there. Maybe that'll help us get some extra runs in the game, which we want on the San Diego side, of course. Oh, thank you, sir. I dropped some bangers on that space. Start my own comedy show. It's going to be difficult because if I was going to do that, it would have to just be Tower Gang again, right? Like try to get those guys back, but I don't know what would happen, man, because I think Clint and Jose would do it, but I don't know, man. But yeah, it all sucks. Anyway, I got to get out of here, so stuff to do today. Those are the best bets. Long video again, even though it's basically just baseball today. Basically. Once again, the 3 plays that I have now are Miami and Washington, or Washington, Miami, over the total of 9, under in the Brewers and Rangers, and San Diego Padres, run line, and lean to Houston for sure, and I do have a lean to the under in that Pirates game as well. Houston was the first one I'm leaving off my card just because Bieber is good, and I don't really want to fade him, but I still think Houston is the preferred side there. And again, I do like the under in the Pirates game too. So watch those win and all 3 of my actual plays lose, man. But that's going to do it. I'll be back. I mean, it's a busy week every time during football season, man. We have Thursday night NFL and Thursday night college football to talk about. There's some big conference game on Thursday with college football. I forget what it is, though. I'm pretty sure there is. We're not in the midweek action section of the college football season yet, where we have football literally every single day. That happens later in the season. We'll see what happens. My NFL was good, though, if you followed my stuff to try to help out your pick'em entries and whatever. And I didn't do well in my money entry because I went 2-3 in my top 5 picks, and my bets were only 2-2, so that's not good. Or my actual plays I gave out on the show. One of them we couldn't use in the pick 5, though, because that would have helped me out. I would have gone 3-2 because I would have had Dallas instead of the Falcons. But the Falcons fucked me, so what do you want to do? But I went 11-5 in my overall spread pool where you pick every single game. But ESPN had some stale lines that you could take advantage of there, but still 11-5. Good start for me in that one. But anyway, I'll be back later on tomorrow morning, and we'll talk about the Wednesday card, and I'll see you then, I guess, assuming I'm still alive. Peace out for now. Hard RR. Thanks for being the only member of the chat this morning. Everybody have a good one today. Titty Tuesday. Peace for now, man.